Well, good afternoon everyone. We're just going on a bit of a crop walk, and I know a lot of you are going to go rolling your eyes now. A crop walk this year. Well, we are in a field of spring oats, and they were sown on the 10th of May this year. And to be honest, they're holding up reasonably well. I see there's two little spots just over my shoulder there that have gone down a little bit. They're not too bad. The combine will still get them. And we're just having a look at it here now. They say they were not quite ready to be cut on, what was it, last week of August. They were still very green. I still see a few green grains in it, but generally no, they're not too bad. The head feels dry. The straw could be a write-off, but we'll get the grain anyway. So the plan will be maybe this weekend, Sunday or Monday are looking like they might be reasonably dry, and going into Tuesday to try and get these cut. Underneath, the weeds doesn't look too bad. There's a bit of grass in it along the tram lines, but so that'll take a bit of time, but it's not too bad. So we'll see what we make of it. Crop doesn't look too bad. I said they're, let's see now if you can see. They're a nice looking size oat. Let's see now, I can't see the camera. There we go. So they are not looking too bad. They rough out quite nice. So yeah, so that's kind of it. I'm just gonna go for a walk down here now and see what else we do. I'll give you an update on the other stuff that we were doing. So the last time we were online, we were doing the cultivation with the Pottinger Synchro, and that we got finished the following day, but we ended up having to change tractors. The tractor I was using, one of the track rod ends broke, and we had to abandon it with that tractor. Unfortunately, that was also the one with the auto steer in it and the high accuracy GPS for sowing. We wouldn't have got it sown anyway with the breakdown and everything else. And then the following day it started to rain. It's been raining ever since. So I think that was the week before Electric Picnic, if I remember correctly. So we've basically had 3 weeks now where it's just rained every day. And you can really see it on the ground up here. We've had 20 mil of rain here last night. But going back to that field anyway, where we shallow cultivated, the original plan for that was to get some oilseed rape into that. The plan still is to go with oilseed rape. We're just going to up the seeding rate, and hopefully that'll get established reasonably well. We have the pre-emerge spray for it as well, so once we're able to travel, I might have to go and get some slightly wider tyres for the sprayer, just to make sure we don't do too much harm. We walked there earlier this morning. It's very wet. So again, hoping that there should be reasonably little rainfall between now and the weekend, and hopefully in a few dry days next week. So we'll go on. So yeah, so it's not looking too bad. We'll just go for a walk down here now, because we could use, the last time I came down here in the Jeep, I slid into a very big track and got beached, so we had to go for a rescue team. But generally now very happy with how this field has turned out for such a late sown crop. The crop looks good, the grain is a good size. We didn't spare anything on it when it was been sown, and I think that's after standing to it. The ground got ordinary ground lime. We also went in with some of the quick lime. That definitely brought on the pH. And we had, I can't remember now the fertilizer, but yeah, it got the max for the crop, so it's after doing well. So if you didn't know what date it was and you didn't know what was after happening in the last 2 weeks, you'd say doesn't too bad. See, there's a bit of grass in the bottom, but it should be okay. Yeah, we have one other crop still to harvest. That is the winter and spring beans. They're again both ready for harvest. They just need a few dry days to get the combine into them. So now let's see if that works. Give you a quick overview of the field. It does look pretty nice. Now I hope the wind's not too bad. We're trying out the mic connected to the camera for the first time, so we'll just have to see how that goes. There's about 5 acres in the field behind me. There's a few more small fields down here. I think total there's about 14 acres, so we'll see how it looks like from a distance. It's looking okay. So you see it through the trees there. We're a bit high up on it. Yeah, don't see anything lodged. You can see the last field is just a small bit of lodging right where there's a little bit of short ground and then there's some overlap on a tram line. Nothing major to worry about. Just these are going to be the more interesting spots. The field we're going into now is this was the only pure what you'd call a grass field in it before we started. The rest of the fields were very rough. Now it's getting quite windy here, so hopefully we'll be able to hear me. I'm not sure how the mic is doing, but fingers crossed it's working. You can see the water laying in the tram lines here. Again, a bit of grass on the tram lines. A lot of grass in this tram line. Croppies lying over a bit. It's going to be quite hard to get the combine under. Actually, down in the crop itself, we're pretty clean. So harvesting shouldn't be too bad. It is starting to lay over, so we don't want to be waiting too much longer. But shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, back to the beans. So we'll probably try and harvest them before we come in here once we get some dry weather. And again, just check the see what the moisture's like. Be honest, it's not bad. It's not bad, no. I thought it'd be a lot worse. Yeah, so just a little bit of lodging there again. We're not quite sure if we're going to get the far corner down there. There's a spring down on that side of the field. We might try and get ashore into it for next year. Was already chatting to the farmer. This was kind of sown and the plan is to put it back in grass seed, but we might just plough it again for one more year. So generally ground is firm underfoot. Well, here's a slightly different story. We've a bit more lodging. This is all from weather. Yeah. Now it's not down flat, so combine will still get it. Should be okay. This is a serious crop of oats out here. Very happy how this field actually turned out. It'd be really nice to be able to get it off the field. So actually, just thinking about it now, that lodging is not all weather related. I remember now when we were spraying the last of the nitrogen on this, the shut off on the fertilizer spreader didn't want to close. And there's an issue with the solenoid for closing the shutters, so it got a bit of an overdose there. So I have to look at that now before next year and get her into the workshop and see if we can correct that. Hopefully it's not a new solenoid. Hopefully we can just take it apart, clean it up, and remove any corrosion in it if there is something in the electrical contacts. But we'll see how it goes. Yep. So, generally, I'm happier than I thought it was going to be up here. The crop looks good. We're just waiting on the weather now to get it off the field. So, we didn't show you this before, so just going to go this way. All these fields are kind of 2.5, 3 acres in size. And what we're going into here now again, not looking too bad for the kind of ground it is. A little bit thin there, but there is a wet spot in the field there. And in general, you just see it a bit wind beaten here. It'll thrash okay. This field is, I think it's about 2.5 acres, and was the toughest bit of ploughing I have done so far. It took about 4.5, 5 hours to plough this little bit. I would love to be able to show you guys a photo of what this field looked like before the farmer started to reclaim it, but we had just trees and firs, and generally it had returned to the wild. Just getting across from roughly where I'm standing back to that far hedge probably took about 3 hours, just trying to get roots through the plough and everything. So it was a little bit of a torturous exercise, but we got there in the end. But no, I'm generally happy now how this looks. So I just hope it yields well in the trailer now, and we can find a home for it. The market for oats this year is not as good as you would expect it to be. I don't know too much about the industry and how it all works, but from what I hear, we're importing foreign grain, exporting Irish grain, not giving a premium for very efficient, very CO2 efficient, I should say, Irish crops, which is a bit frustrating in these times when everything is going on about CO2 efficiency and minimizing your CO2 footprint on in your agricultural plans and produce. So when we're doing the best we can with actually some of the best results in the world on oats, they're pretty much CO2 neutral if you chop the straw. So yeah, it's a real shame that we're not getting paid for it, but hopefully things will change. I wasn't able to attend the crisis meeting in, I think it was Naas the other night, but so I'm just still waiting to hear some more feedback from that. Yeah, I think there was a few good points made at it. Now, this is starting to get a little bit worrying underfoot. There was quite a large wet spot in this area. You see all the grass there now. We're again holding water. It's not too bad here, and the combine is on 800s, so fingers crossed she'll travel it. I won't be going in here with a full tank though. Yeah, this was a real wet spot, and again, it didn't turn down properly on the plough. We had to kind of drag the plough through it, so we'll have to come in with a bit of glyphosate after we harvest this. So I'd say this is definitely a candidate for chopping straw in here. Unfortunately, it's not in the straw chopping scheme, which is a mistake on my behalf on hindsight. Really should have, depending with what's the word? hindsight. Yeah. Again, once you get off the wet area there, the grass is minimal, but just there where it's wet, just didn't get killed off properly. We're not entirely sure what to do with this field next year, so the most sensible candidate is a spring barley, given how much it kind of holds water on the surface. You'd want a very dry winter to be able to get a winter crop into it. Oh, I don't see that happening. Now, I think there's been cattle in here again. I just see some cow dung here on the ground. Yeah, there's definitely, and there's some footprints up along through it, so somebody's cattle has been in here again. That's annoying. Yeah. Yeah, this headland, if you can see it on the camera, I couldn't even plough through this. So it would basically look like this after the diggers had left it, so we just went straight through with a power harrow and put in what seed we could. There was no real ploughing it. Hopefully the roots now will have died down or rotted off a little bit this year, and we will go through it. Instead of going through it with the plough, we'll try and go through it with one of the heavy like cultivators, just try and rip through it a little bit more and then go through with a power harrow rather than trying to turn it over. We'll see how that works. But yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, it's not terribly disappointing. So hopefully at the weekend now we'll get up with the combine. We might do a live from the combine or the grain tractors when we get going. Yeah, I'll be amazed if we get the straw off it. Fingers crossed we do, but I'll be really amazed if we do. We'll look at the forecast and make our decisions on the day. It'll take 3 or 4 days of drying just to get that straw, so I don't know if we're going to get it. Yeah, there's another field in this block which has to be sprayed off. We'll spray that off and try and do a rough cultivation on it before the winter, and then try and plough it in the summer. Again, it was left because the roots were going to be so bad in it, and there was a few areas that had been disturbed during all the reclamation that needed to settle down. So fingers crossed that's settled now and you might be able to travel. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but the water running on the ground there. This is all coming out of the first field we were in. There's a shore. We're not completely sure what way the drainage is done on this field. It's generally in good order, but it does all seem to drain to the laneway for some reason. But at least the shores are working. So yeah, like really you see it boiling up here. So let's see, where are we? Yeah, you can see the water flowing there now. Yep. So shores are working. There's a bit of a windfall tree over there to be removed before we come out to combine. And we'll see how it goes. So, we'll give another update on the oats from next week. Like I said, hopefully do a live on Sunday and see what happens. And I think that's it. Now, I'm going to do another video, but I'm going to end this one first, and then we'll switch over to the other one. Reason being is we are looking to employ some people. So if you're still watching at this stage, thank you very much. And yeah, if you know of anybody who might be interested in a role with a fencing and farming company, please do get in touch. I'll try and figure out how to paste an email address in on the video links at some stage, and we'll go from there. All right, right. Over to the next video. Thanks. Stop recording. Stop recording.